One of my favorite things about poetry um, is free verse poems because they contain so much voice. Poems in general contain a lot of voice and they're such a form of expression. Writing is a form of expression, but poetry just seems to contain more emotion, um, more voice in such a smaller space. I think it is like very, not dramatic, but very saturated with emotion because the writers of poems know that they need to convey what they're feeling or what they're thinking um, in such like a smaller amount of words. I love free verse poems and mostly because um, they can rhyme or they don't have to. I usually like to read poems that rhyme just because I'm a child, but I do love reading poems that don't rhyme and that are just thoughts and just like talking to other people. Some of my favorite poetry is like letters to other people. There's a lot of trans poetry that is like a letter to their former self or letters to their future self. Are We Stargazing is a lovely poem because it is a letter, or not a letter to someone else, but it's the author's talking to another person, and it is about a relationship, and it talks about the stars and like something that connects these people. I think the stars is a very beautiful thing that connects people because you can be halfway across the world and you can be seeing the same constellations as another person. And I think things that make the world seem so small and that connect the entire population of Earth, they're very unique. There aren't a lot of things that do that because our cultures are so different or things like that. But the stars that connect people like this have always intrigued me, and I think that's one of the reasons I really like Are We Stargazing. Um, but it's a very cool poem because it does contain a lot of a voice and emotion, and yeah, it's very good. I know you're awake. What are you doing? Looking at the stars, aren't you? I know you wanted me to see them, but I'm too tired to go out in the cold. Would you tell me about them anyway? I bet if I closed my eyes, I could see them through your eyes. Tell me, is Orion there? He's my favorite, you know. He's strong. Every time I see him, his bow is drawn with purpose, even if the purpose is unbeknownst to me. Can you see him? Could you just whisper to me about the sky? I want to fall asleep to the night with you. I like the poem Are We Stargazing because I've always been able to find the constellation Orion and the stars, and stars have always intrigued me because concepts like space that are so hard for the mind to wrap around always seem very interesting to me, and stars especially. I've always looked out the window or gone outside and laid on a blanket and looked at the stars or gone stargazing with people. It's something that I really love to do. Liz Ann uses the format of a free verse poem to create a comfortable and familiar tone in order to cause the readers to feel safe in the author's trusting relationship with whoever this person is writing about. I also think that Liz Ann uses her poem to like create a feeling within the readers of like a longing to experience the familiar or like the ordinary through other people's eyes. Um, because we don't often get to do that, but the perspectives that other people have do shape the way we think, and it's not always shaped by them explicitly telling us what we think, but the way in which they act or the way in which they experience things um, are all examples that definitely influence our decisions and our biases and the way we see things. So I think the differing perspectives are always interesting. But then again, I always love the free verse poem format because I think it is very creative and um, it can be very choppy or it can be very flowy, but I think they're all very unique because there's no free verse that's like another free verse.